morning.
Still morning. Good morning, everybody. For those that joined us online, representative of Akwa Ibom Governor, the Executive Vice Chairman of NCC, Professor Gambata, and those that are here, the Commissioner for Science and Technology in Lagos State, Mr. Akim Pham, the Special Advisor to the Governor of Lagos State on Innovation and Technology, Mr. Tubos Walake, one of the very young, dynamic guy in the Executive Council. The convener of this summit, the Nigerian E-Government Summit of 2020, Engineer Larry Ajayi. Thank you very much for that information, which I couldn't remember, but I'm sure you are telling the truth, because Nigeria, we are all full of ideas. We just need to implement. Yeah. So, we were then looking at that time for what do we do to change our state to get it better. So, sorry, I wasn't meant to be harsh, just what we were looking for at that time. The chairman of NACO, Dr. Sainde Oladapo, the representative of FRS Executive Chairman, Mr. Fedi Oluwani. When I was asking you about your offices, I'm sure that things are coming. The Senior Special Assistant to Mr. President in Digital Transformation, Mr. Oswald Bedebe, and our friend who has been talking since morning, Mr. Bigi Fashion.
Thank you very much.
Well, we all used to work together then. I fight them then at that time, that a lot of our IT institutions in Nigeria are not giving us the services we need. You know the challenge we have, so I'll just go away from the speech, is that if you look at the population of our country, right, you notice that a sizable percentage are in the informal sector, a very sizable percentage. Those informal sector don't understand viruses. They don't understand digital divide. They don't understand that there's a need for a server. But they see roads, they see hospitals, they see schools. So that's the balance that a government needs to work. You understand the need for IT, apparently, but you must also look at the brick and mortar that a sizable percentage of the population will also look at. But that's not why we're here today. I'm very delighted indeed to be part of this summit with a very, very impressive team, COVID-19, impetus for accelerated adoption of e-government. Well, as we all know around the world now, we are confronting the negative effects of COVID-19 pandemic on the global economy and the disruption it has continued to have on the social interaction, business processes, and lifestyle generally. Today, the global community is still grappling with the challenge of COVID-19, which is still going on in various parts of the world. It's still with us. That's the reality. In Lagos, in the past 3-4 weeks, we've lost 4 lives due to COVID. So it's still with us. And so people should understand that we should still take it serious. We are lucky in this part of the world that is not as problematic as it is in other parts of Europe, United States, and so on and so forth. So other parts of the world are still witnessing the second and third wave of this pandemic, and we can all see it all over the world. But we must understand that apart from the negative activities, incidents associated with COVID-19, the pandemic has shown us the need to accelerate acceptance of technology and to see technology as an enabler, and that its development or deployment in every aspect of human activity will drive efficiency and, of course, effectiveness. Various restrictions and protocols that were put in place to control the spread of virus made it impossible for us to continue to do things the old way. So adopting innovative and technological-driven ideas has therefore become a strategy that must be embraced for us to survive as a people in order to live our lives and deliver services to each other. from the government to the people, and of course for people to interact effectively to government. I strongly then believe that we must take advantage of this opportunity to reinvigorate our governance activities through digitalization to improve quality of public service delivery being provided through the various agencies of government at all levels. Given this global shift from physical transactions to online transactions resulting from COVID-19 pandemic, our state, the Lagos State Government, has deployed innovation and technology strategies in rendering e-government services. The ongoing pandemic has broadened our knowledge of the significant role that technology could play in the life of every human being, as most people have adopted the online means of going about their daily activities. The Lagos State Government has partnered with existing ecosystem of technology companies, particularly the tech startups, to implement a wide array of solutions. There have been broadly two categories of solutions that I will talk about, which have been deployed recently. The first category is related to the medical and healthcare response to the pandemic itself, while the second is government-related delivery. So the usual features of healthcare and medical management-related applications were used seriously in the state, and these include tracking the geographical spread of the pandemic on a real-time basis using GIS-linked tools, monitoring the availability and utilization levels of hospital facilities and beds. Because the truth is, we are all at the initial stage when we had the first index case. Everybody was scared because, first of all, nobody seems to understand the virus enough. World Health Organization was struggling. The so-called advanced countries were all struggling. So we were worried as to managing our facilities, how to make sure that we do that. But we believe that with technology, we'll be able to do that. And that's exactly what we did. Managing the demand, availability, and utilization level of equipment like ventilators, as well as essential medical items, including face masks, protective PPEs, that's the personal protective equipment, creating a database that monitors the number of rising cases on a daily basis, creation of a platform that ensures doctor-patient consultations online, creation of application monitored by the state ICT team, which enable rapid response and containment of possible COVID-19. So what this does for us, it allows us to gather data, that allows us to have a predictive model. If you listen at that time to the then Deputy Incident Commander, which is the Commissioner for Health, Professor Obafemi, we were able to predict that we will peak around August in Lagos. And fortunately, that was exactly what happened. We were able to say that if we use mass social distance lockdown, we will curtail the spread, because the number we were seeing was scary. But we know that if we're able to do all those medical protocols that were given to us, we'll be able to control the spread. We're able to do this given the data that we have that allows us to build a model. And then the second category of technology solutions are more generic and cover different types of government services. Some of the most common applications involve the back of virtual meetings, even of the State Executive Council. So one of the things we did was to create what we regarded the COVID-19 as a war. So we decided to treat it as a war, that we are fighting a war. Therefore, we created a war cabinet made up of just 6 or 7 of us. The governor, myself, the commissioner for health, to the general finance, and so on. So that we can still meet, but we meet in a room like this where we can social distance, because we cannot meet the whole, but we then decided to do virtual meetings for all ESCO meetings. So allocating time slots to citizens for purchasing grocery, medicine, and other essential items at local markets. So if you look at the United Nations e-government survey for 2020, it stated that over 22% of countries were promoted to our level of e-government development. That is, about 22% of existing countries actually raised the level of e-governance. But it also stated that despite the gains and major investment in e-government by many countries, the digital divide persists. 7 out of 8 countries with low scores, unfortunately, are in Africa and belong to the least developed countries of the world. The regional average index scores for countries in Africa are almost a top. That is about 0.39 compared to the world average of about 0.6. But I'm happy to tell you that Lagos will not be one of those that led to that reduction in scaling. Because as far back as last year, one of the things that we decided to do was to build an infrastructure that allows us to actually do broadband better. Studies have shown, there's a body of literature that shows that as you reduce the digital divide and that the penetration of bandwidth increases, you increase the GDP of that society. So one of the things we did, I'm sure everybody has been saying it, is to start the 3,000 kilometer metro fiber across the state. So that has 6 cables or 6 dots. I'm sure people have seen it around the blue, red, and all sorts of. So what that does for us is that it allows us to, first of all, preserve our infrastructure. One of the challenges we have is that in doing their businesses, of course, the telcos want to dig, put these things there, but it leads again, unfortunately, to destruction of our roads. So one of the things that we did was, okay, let's have a systemic infrastructure that you don't need to go and dig anymore. You just lease the line. So there will be 6 lines. One is dedicated for Lagos State, and then the other 5 will be leased. And in that, each one can carry 3 sets of fibers. So that's 5 times 3. The one dedicated for Lagos State allows us to have fiber in all government institutions, all government schools, primary, secondary, tertiary, all hospitals, and all government institutions. I'm happy to say that even with the pandemic, we are hoping that by early next year, that first phase of 3,000 will be completed. That allows us to build, it's like a road. I mean, you can't drive a car if there's no road. So really, it's like a road for broadband, and I think that allows us to do extremely well. So under this smart city network is being implemented to address the issue of internet connectivity and IT infrastructure deficit. Also in line with the vision of transforming Lagos into a 21st century economy, one of the things we did was for Lagos State to have set up a 250 million naira Lagos State Science, Research and Innovation Council last year, which the 250 million naira is a seed fund for investment in research and development of tech-focused solutions across the 6 pillars of administration agenda. So one of the things that has done, I think we have given the first award. We've given the first award, those are the people in charge of it, is to allow our young people. One of the first one I think was the metering, right? So we have the meters. So basically we realized that our discourse and the rest, in interacting with them, we wanted to say, okay, if you want to buy meters for Lagosians, at least just to jumpstart, because as you know, it's a private sector, but the challenge is the cost of those meters, and it's because it's not produced here. So one of the first things was to have that as association with younger people, and I think some people actually designed it, they are building it now. So we gave them the seed fund. So part of those initiatives is to make sure that we have young people that have all these ideas that can develop whatever it is, and then the seed fund is there for them. The chairman, I think, is the Vice Chancellor of the University of Lagos. So they are made up of people from private sector that can actually evaluate this and make the decisions. And I think the first set of people got some money, and they are working basically on it. So I want to assure distinguished participants that our administration will provide the needed leadership to fast track the adoption of e-governance, even when COVID-19 pandemic leads us. We will continue to drive this project by sustaining investment in IT infrastructure and partnering with all stakeholders, including the IT professionals in the private sector. I want to thank you for this invitation, and I wish that you will do well in all your deliberations, and hopefully it will not end in this room, and that those deliberations will be something that will not just be an idea, but something that we can practice. Thank you.
Can I ask us to stand and give him a standing ovation, please? Thank you, Mr. Governor. a lot of people said Lagos was going to have 2 governors.
But I hope it's not a call for tax.
On behalf of my executive chairman, Mr. Mohammed Nami, it gives me great pleasure to make this presentation to the governor and indeed the whole executive arm of the Lagos State government for the good work that they have been doing. I'm believing that just like the deputy governor has needed here, the good work will continue and Nigeria will get to the place of our dreams. Thank you, Mr. Governor.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
That I believe this government that it takes life so simply, so easily. It doesn't. In fact, one of the days he operated me was when I was at an event and I was giving so much encomium to somebody, and he just said, "No, you don't need all of that. Don't say that." Ladies and gentlemen, please, he's a blue-blooded prince. Can we rise up to give him another round of applause as he now takes us, as he leads the delegation through the stands, and there we will have TV. Please all seated. Please be seated. The State Security Service is not happy at all. They don't want us to swamp him. Please sit where you are. After he goes, you can follow him. You know, those of us who are special, we go with him first. Okay, there.
Not so new. Yeah, for the 5 years.
Yes, take a shot, take a lead.
Providing any services in our indoor and outdoor routers. We have as low as 35 and then 18,000.
Depending on.
Yes, so the plan you want. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Como tú le decías, que le mueve. Que le mueve.